I'm not sure, especially in that division with the O's and the Yankees being two of the best teams in the game. I almost feel like I take my chances in the wild card to win that 3-game series and then roll into the division series, still just playing baseball.
And I'm in love with the good life. Can't give it up. Make it to the top. Keep climbing. I wanna live it up. The good life. I'm coming up. I'm coming up. The good life. Good life. Oh, good life. Good life. Good life.
Coming hot, kid, what's going on, brother?
Coming in hot, the darling of MLB Central is back in the studio again today. How was it? Fun day?
Dude, it was great, man. It was great. You know what we had on today? We had Dexter Fowler on today. It was pretty cool. Dexter came and did a couple segments. We were talking about that 2016 run where he homered to lead off Game 7, dude. How cool of a memory is that? Homer off Kluber to lead off Game 7, dead center, get it started. So that was pretty cool to look back. That was 8 years ago, dude. Seems like yesterday. I remember being at that game. Me, Eddie Vedder, Chris Chelios, John Cusack, Brian Kenny, Mark DeRosa, Kevin Millar, Theo Epstein, all sitting there watching the game, but right 5-10 rows back.
Yeah, you guys were there. I was in the control room all night. That game ended at what, 2:30 in the morning, Game 7 Eastern time. And do you remember it rained? You remember we had to stop the show? You were doing the post game? No,
I think I did. I don't think I did the post game, but I was.
We did not walk out of the building at MLB Network until like 4:42 in the morning. But it was so worth it, though. That was the craziest baseball game ever. One of the craziest games in the history of baseball. Anyway, hey, we could be getting into a situation like that right now, man. We were talking before we came on. This league, these playoff races, everything that's going on, it's intense. We didn't even know where to start. Let's start. Why don't we start with that NL Wildcard right now? We'll go around the league. There's plenty of stuff to talk about. But the question is, all right, the Mets are 3 games out of a wild card. The Cubs are 5.5 out of a wild card. And the Giants are 5.5 out of a wild card. Currently in are the D-backs, Padres, and Braves. But you also have to consider the Dodgers there in case one of those guys jumps the Dodgers. But so there's basically 4 teams that are ahead in that NL wild card. Even though 3 make it, one's going to win the NL West. Can the Mets or the Cubs or the Giants, and shoot, I'll throw the Cardinals in there, man, 6 back.
Yeah.
Can any of those teams make a run and take, I would say the Braves are the most volatile right now because they're so banged up.
Well, you know what? The Cubs have been playing good baseball lately. You know, that's going to be interesting to see if they can run somebody down. Because I think the Braves are really, really vulnerable right now. I think Sale's the one guy that's been great in that rotation. Max Fried's just been okay since he's come off the IL. And you saw Matt Olson last night get 3 hits, home run, driving some big runs. Like, they need Matt Olson more now than they ever have. He hasn't had that great of a year. He's got 20 plus home runs. You know, he led the Major League Baseball last year in home runs and RBIs. This year he's got barely over 20 homers. He's, in a mid-7s OPS all year long. Hasn't really hit, but it doesn't matter if he gets hot now. If Matt Olson gets hot now and can carry the Braves on his back, that's going to be a huge factor because they're really, with Austin Riley now out, obviously Acuna's been out for a while. Michael Harris is back, so that's huge. But you look at the Braves, and I just think they're vulnerable. I think the Cubs have been playing better baseball. They're right at 500. The Cards and Giants are right there too. So I think if there's one team that can run you down, it could be the Cubs. But man, the Padres and D-backs have been playing great baseball. I don't think they're getting run down, but I think the Braves have a shot to get run down. Obviously, the Mets are still in that mix. The one thing about the Mets, though, Chinch, their record is so much better when Manaea and Peterson pitch. Mm-hmm. Every other starter, I believe, is 39-52.
Right.
So you better win the starts that Manaea and Peterson pitch because the other guys have just been okay. So that's going to be a huge factor coming down the stretch too. But I love it, man. I love it. The fact that we're naming, we got we're talking about 7 teams right here.
Yeah.
7 teams still in it. It's the end of August. It's great for baseball, man. This wild card situation is great for baseball, and it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, I agree.
What do
Yesterday,
you think? What teams do you think, bro? Of all those teams, especially the Cubs, Cardinals, Giants, can they run down anybody? You know,
see, here's the thing, and it's funny you didn't mention the Mets there because, like you said, the Mets don't have like they. It's a killer that what's his name came back and then busted up his leg on his first start. I'm sorry, their ace. I'm forgetting his
oh
name.
yeah. Senga.
Yeah, because the Cubs have guys that can go on a run. The Cards have guys that can come on a run. And shoot, man, we look at the Giants, they can go on a run with their pitching. The Mets have to bang. Like I think
Yeah.
the Mets are going to have to bang their way into the playoffs, and I don't think that's that's a sustainable thing with this many games left in the season. Jeez, this time of year, I don't know, man. There's magic in the Cardinals and there's magic in the Cubs, especially they get on a run. This is a time of year where their fans show up big time, and it's a home, they have home field advantage kind of more than most teams do. So if I'm gonna pick one, I have a strange thing about the Cubs, dude. They can we counted them out before the season. They made the right moves before the season, and they've been hanging in there the whole year. They're 500 though. That's the thing. Can you make that little jump right now? Is the
But
question.
they were way below 500. It seems like the other day. Like you look
Yeah.
up, you're like, wow, the Cubs are at 500. Like they're quietly making a run. That's why they signed Craig Counsell too. Hopefully, he's the manager, can make some right moves down the stretch. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah. On the flip side, it's such a New York thing, man. If you were living in my town, you'd be like, "Wow, the Yankees really aren't having a great year." I swear, dude.
They're the
And
best team in baseball.
they are tied for the most wins in baseball. In the game of baseball, they have a 591 winning percentage, and now they're 2 up on the O's, who took the lead from them in that down and dirty stretch where the Yankees were trade everybody, fire Cashman. Now they're 78 and 54. What's your take on that division? How are you handicapping that? Is it over?
Well,
It's not over, but
dude, you know what? I had a weird thought today in MLB Central, and obviously people can think about it however they want to think about it. I think I'm a little scarred from my time in Detroit when we had 7 days, 6 days off, or 7 days off before the World Series and kind of fell flat on our face. Uh, I look at that division, I look at the Yankees and the O's, and I almost think like, do you want to win the division or do you want to be the wild card? Because you go back and look at the wild card last year. I mean, a lot of the division leaders. Look at the Dodgers. They haven't got out of the NLDS the last 2 years, and they've been the best team in baseball. So like, I almost think like I'd want to be a team in that situation where I continue to play. I just got to navigate a 3-game series. If and those are 2 of the best teams in the game. I feel like the team that wins that first round wild card has an advantage coming into that division series because they're going to have played. They still have the rhythm. The hitting is such a rhythm thing. Now that it's a 3-game series, to get 4 or 5 days off and then start a series is not good for anybody. And it's shown the last couple of years. I almost feel like, I'm not sure, especially in that division with the O's and the Yankees being 2 of the best teams in the game. I almost feel like I take my chances in the wild card to win that 3-game series and then roll into the division series still just playing baseball like these players, guys like me and guys that have played this game for 162 are creatures of habit, man. You do not want to break going into the postseason. So just a thought, dude. I know people are like, "Oh, win the division." I'm like, I've been there.
right.
We got in as the wild card in '06, beat the Yankees first round, swept Oakland, and then got to the World Series, took 6 days off, and we were never the same.
Mm. It's interesting too. Either one, if they make it as a wild card, has completely different advantages. The Yankees have the veteran presence; they've been there before, and they have arguably the best starting pitcher in baseball. You need that in a wild card series, no question. Garrett Cole. But the Orioles are so young and fun, and like I almost think the Orioles making it into the wild card, it's like a little less pressure on them. They don't have to worry about anything, and they can just show off their young, skilled position players. So either one of them. I'll tell you one thing: nobody wants that series against either Yankees or the Orioles if they are the wild card team.
No, that's what I'm
Right.
saying. That's what I'm saying. I think the O's and the Yankees are going to win that wild card. Whoever's in is going to win the wild card. And then I think advantage the wild card team because you're playing. So who gives a crap if you win the division or the wild card? I think the advantage goes. I think those teams are going to win that 3-game series, and then I believe that wild card team, whoever goes, is going to have the advantage there, no doubt.
Yeah.
And you look at the O's right now, dude. The two big trades they made at the deadline. Trevor Rogers is back in the minors, so they traded. They traded Stowers and Norby for Rogers, and dude, he hasn't done that great. He's back in the minors, and then you have Eflin, who's on. They got Eflin from the Rays, and he's on the DL, so that hasn't worked out. So you're seeing the need they had was starting pitching. They went and got it, but they both haven't worked out. The Yankees, who they've gotten, has really worked out. Jazz Chisholm and some of the moves they made. So I don't know, man. It's going to be an interesting. Remember this episode when we get to the postseason, because I think it's going to be really interesting to see.
Yeah.
I almost feel like I'd rather be the wild card team.
That's a great point. And dude, for as a Yankee fan, growing up a Yankee fan, like everybody talks Yankees Red Sox rivalry. When the Yankees Orioles have a rivalry, it's super cool. Don't forget those like 95, 96, 97 Orioles teams were legit, dude. They had Almar, they had superstar players on those teams.
Brady Anderson, Cal.
Yeah, dude. And they used to battle so hard. That 96 Yankees team beat them. They shouldn't. Remember, that was when Jeter hit the home run that the kid reached over the thing.
Oh, yeah.
He could have won a World Series that year if they didn't lose to the Yankees. Anyway, it's a fun race. Stay in the American League real quick, because there's an anomaly going on. We can't figure it out. The Seattle Mariners, dude. What's your take on them?
Dude, I was diving into them a little bit too, man. That what really, is not great for the Mariners is that Wu is pitching so well. Miller's pitching so well. They are stacked. That rotation is one of the best rotations in the league, if not the best. And you got Julio Rodriguez that's just having one of his worst seasons. You go get a Rosarena and Turner. You try to, get that at the deadline. Rosarena is hitting like below 200. Turner really hasn't done much. No power there. Like, I mean, it's a shame, because I really feel like that team is, just fire Scott Service. I don't know if that was the best move Jerry Dipoto made, but here you are down the stretch, and you're like, oh my gosh, like we just can't score runs. We can keep people off the bases, but we can't score runs. And at the end of the day, in the big leagues, you got to be able to score runs, especially in that park. And man, they're running out of time, dude. Yeah. The Mariners are running out of time. They got to get hot.
Yeah, 4 games back in the loss column, 3.5 games back in the division. And the Astros are the Astros. They're always going to be playing tough all the way down the stretch. So that's a tough one. Okay, one more thing. I did another poll question. First of all, fans, thank you so much for responding.
Yeah.
Poll question.
Thank you.
I did it today, and it was, which would you vote for in the NL Rookie of the Year race, Jackson Merrill or Paul Skenes? Merrill on all the betting lines has now passed. He is, as of yesterday, Jackson Merrill is minus 140. So that means you bet $10, you win $17.14. Skenes is now plus 110. If you bet $10, you win $21. So he's like $4 ahead of Paul Skenes, right?
Yeah, I don't even think it's close. I think Jackson Merrill is the Rookie of the Year right now. And if he plays decent for the rest of the way, he wins it. I mean, what he's meant, I think a big part of this is, what you mean to your team. At least if I was voting. That's my opinion. But like, Jackson Merrill has 5 game-tying or walk-off home runs this year. Just hit another huge one the other day against the Mets after Profar tied in the 8th. Merrill walked it off 3-2. It's almost storybook. He just turned 21. Barely left the spring training with the team. They moves him from shortstop to center field. He's at right around 20 home runs. Big hit after hit. He had a big hit last night too. Hit a nice 2-run single, that put him up, and a nice line drive to left field. This guy can hit. He can flat out hit. His heartbeat's slow. He's probably the best Padres hitter, going right now. And for me, what he means to the Padres, they would not be where they're at right now without Jackson Merrill. So to me, he's the rookie of the year. And I think the other wild card is going to be, is Skenes going to pitch the rest of the season? I think he will. But at the end of the day, Jackson Merrill has meant so much to this Padres team.
Yeah, I agree. What do you think? I mean, you're probably gonna have a little bias here because you're a hitter, but like, is it more difficult as a rookie to make the transition as an offensive player or as a pitcher, do you think?
I think as a position player, man, because navigating 162 games at the big league level with the travel, all that stuff, it's just a different animal, man. It's a different beast. And trying to figure out how to keep your legs going, trying to figure out, how to just keep yourself going night in and night out. There's a lot more adrenaline up at the big league level too. So I think as a position player, just the grind of the year is real.
Mm. I think I tend to agree with that because with pitching, it's like there's three true outcomes. You either win, lose, or draw as a pitcher. As an offensive player, you can come out there and you can go 4 for 4 one night, but then make a throwing error to lose a game for your team. Like there's so many more ways to fail, I think, as a position player. That's what we were talking about the MVP the other day and DHing or not. Like it's just I think there's more margin for error as a position player. And if Paul Skenes came on and nobody's ever seen him before, if you've never seen a hitter before, you can still probably strike him out more.
Right.
Then he gets a hit. Because if they're a great hitter, they're getting out themselves 7 out of the 10 times, right?
Right.
As a pitcher, you come out there. How many times do you face a guy? Who is this guy? And he comes out and the shutout against you.
Dominates you.
You
Yeah.
never hear of him again because the next 3 weeks he can't get a guy out. So
right.
Yeah. Quickly though, in the American League, Colton Cowser's gonna win it. But dude, Austin Wells is number 2 in that, and I think he is. If he were on any other team, he might even be closer to the numbers. But dude, the Yankees 8/7, 8, 9 hitter in their lineup could be the rookie of the year playing one of the most important positions in all sports, dude. Pretty cool. I gotta give him credit.
Dude, Austin Wells. I was talking to Aaron Boone recently. He's just so impressed with Austin Wells. How well that he early in the year too, bro, when he was struggling. If you were paying attention, he was hitting rockets, so many atom balls. He was hitting well, but couldn't get any hits. It was like really frustrating. But now, dude, I mean, Austin Wells is having an incredible season. And, I think too, listen, he might have even saved the Yankees, bro, because when they were struggling, Booney moved Austin Wells into that 4-hole, with some protection for Judgy, and Wellesley went off. For like a month and a half, he had a 950 OPS while Stanton was out. Now Stanton came back, shuffled the lineup. They picked up Jazz. I mean, just made the lineup so much deeper. But if you have Austin Wells sitting there at 7, 8, 9, man, that's a great place because he can beat you with one swing of the bat. And I think he gets overlooked because we're talking so much about Judge and Soto. Austin Wells, dude, has been could have been a season-saving bat for a period there when the Yankees were struggling.
Right. And dude, the thing as a catcher, I guarantee every catcher that gets called up, the first thing you're told is, I don't care if you bat 0, be a catcher first, be a good catcher first. First of all, you got Garrett Cole. You're catching some of the most cerebral pitchers. Just get that right. Bro, he's only got 65 strikeouts in 316 plate appearances as a rookie. And he's got a 3.43 on base. So what you're saying about when he carried him, he's got a sustainable bat. He's like a hitter. Like I could see him hitting 300 one year. He's in 253 this year, but I think he's that kind of an offensive player. And like I said, it's sustainable. It's not like he's a 50 home run, 40 home run guy that just bangs. I think he's
and dude, Chinch, and his defensive metrics have been off the charts. He's doing incredible back there. That was the big knock last year. Like, oh, should we call him up? Hey, defensively, he's going to not do well. When he came up, they're like, he's better defensively than we think offensively right now. You know what I mean? And then because you knew the bat was there, and good job to him and Tanner Swanson, the catching coach up there for the Yankees, does an incredible job. I think he's one of the best in the business, and he's worked with Wellesley so much, especially down in the minor leagues. And And Wellesley continues to work and get better, but man, this guy can flat out hit. He can barrel a baseball, and he can get a baseball into the air too. So, good conversation there, because I love the guy too, and he's going to be a leader. He's a funny guy. He's a great guy. He's a great guy to be around. So, that's a great get for the Yankees.
Yeah, kudos to them. All right, man. Every day there's something fun to talk about, dude, and it's not going anywhere. This is the exact conversation we had today with all of these topics. We might be having the exact same show in 2 weeks because nobody's going anywhere in the races. They're all tight. And these players are, these young guys, golly gee, the exuberance of youth around the league is amazing. And by the way, we got guys going 50-50 and hitting 63 home runs this year. So maybe one of the coolest seasons in the last couple decades, I got to say.
Yeah. No, there's a lot of great things happening in baseball. That's the greatest thing about baseball. 162 games. We got something to talk about every day, every night. So it's awesome, man.
There you go. Well, we'll be back tomorrow doing it, man.
We will, bro. Chinchy, love you, brother. Everyone out there, thanks for listening. Subscribe and download. Don't forget, hit that button. Subscribe and download. We need it big time. And hope everyone has an incredible day. Chinchy, see you tomorrow, brother.
Love you, buddy.